It's pretty easy to look back at 1960s Doctor Who and treat the entire saga as one big mesh of stuff, but when you really break it down, you can clearly see a mighty organic development from Season 1 to Season 2. Season 1 was a hella strong opener to a sci-fi TV show, with its unique blend of fantastical tropes, quirky characters, wholly original alien threats and history. It was the gift that kept on giving, and Season 2 did everything the same but did it bigger. Chosen Chimp here. I've already covered Season 2's opening adventure, Planet of Giants, and I think it's charming as hell. I really love it, but that's just the opening. After that we have the Daleks invading Earth, a whole swathe of companion changes, the first introduction of timey-wimey concepts as seen in the Space Museum, yep, done that one too, and the introduction of another Time Lord in the form of the meddling monk whose very existence seems to confuse a lot of people. You know, in a number of ways I think Season 2 sees the last of Doctor Who's eloquence and fluidity for this chapter in its lifespan. It has a wholly different face at the end than it does at the beginning. It's a story well told in Adventure in Time and Space that in Season 3, the original producer Verity Lambert left and William Hartnell began to struggle with health issues. And it's a pretty hard season to document in the best of cases, as the majority of adventures no longer exist. Anyway, with the classy interactions of Dr. Ian and Barbara and the steady shift in dynamic brought about when Vicky replaced Susan, Season 2 is the mightier half of a true golden age in Doctor Who. And we're gonna jump smack bang in the middle of it, folks, with the strange, crazy, weird and silly The Web Planet, an ambitious project by any stretch. The story starts with the crew landing on the planet Vortis, and this weird blurry web appears around the TARDIS. They're flipping stranded already, but the Doctor manages to cheer himself up by melting Ian's belongings in acid. And then Ian's pen disappears, poor bloke. We better get used to that blurry effect on the lens, it turns up quite a lot, by design as well. That same magnetic effect that sucked Ian's pen out of his hand also afflicts Barbara's arm, which she finds very unnerving. It's not funny, Vicky. Melting Ian's tie is funny, that's not. Yeah, just put it down, Ian. Big old pyramid! Some great pyramids in the Hartnell era. When the Zarbi do turn up and get noisy, everyone goes a bit crazy. The control console starts spinning, and Barbara goes into a trance and oh, she's off. There's also a net with Ian's name on it, and that was only a matter of time. Soon enough we get our first glimpse of the Menoptera, which is good, because that would have just been horrible, falling in the acid like that. The entire TARDIS gets captured with Vicky trapped inside of it, and I hope this crew enjoy being continuously separated, because that's how we're going to play it for the next 5 episodes. Now there is a lot that I like in the Web Planet, and I use the term charming rather a lot when I'm talking about the Hartnells, and it's a very applicable term here. There's much that I'm fond of in this serial, but the biggest irk I have with the Web Planet is that it really doesn't need to be 6 episodes. A Space Museum style 4-parter would have done nicely, and the only time serials ranging from episode numbers of 1 to 6 or above really worked was when the characters went from location to location or when the peril was ramped up to 11. A lot of plot points just don't need to be here, and if I covered every one, you'd all be dead bored. For the most part, Barbara is with Team Menoptera, an elegant group, kinda pleasant company, though you will pray for the day when they just stop talking. Soon enough, the Doctor and Ian ditch their safety suits and explore this wonderfully mysterious world in their civvies, treading on the old bug in the process. Nice one, Ian. From this, the Doctor deduces that this is the planet Vortis, but all is not well. There should be life and resources. Instead, there's none of that, and all these moons have appeared, and the Menoptera have been banished from this planet. It's currently all-out war between the Menoptera and the Zarbi, with a sinister force pulling the strings. I know, Barbara, it's horrible. Just like real bugs eating each other in your garden. Coming into this with your 21st century head on, I guess you're probably going to have a big old jab at the costumes in this serial, namely the Zarbi and the Menoptera. Look, if you cross-reference the design with the actual conception and place it in the context of its surrounding set pieces and the performance given by the actors on both parties, I'm going to give both these creatures a neat pass. Yes, the giant ants are wearing black trousers and the Menoptera are talking in whimsical two-dimensional alien talk for the better part of it, but as I've always said, watching the earlier series serials is kind of like watching a play. It's like theatre. You gotta make an exception for this stuff, and accept that they are people in costumes and just run with it. The Zarbi, for what they are, do look alright. They're cool. The grating alarm noise that they make kind of helps their case. And say what you like about these costumes, but the designers did go to town on them. I extend the same honours also to these cute little larvae guns too. Aww. I also love the entire look of Vortis. I find the whole thing very effective and rather just spacey and dreamy. Look, it's lovely. Great place to be, even when it's desolate. And there are a lot of really cool sets. They are ambitious, alright. For all their black and white worth, they're detailed and strange enough to effectively deliver that alien planet vibe. And what's the Doctor doing here? No, it's not Venusian karate. It's a sort of sign language. Prognosis from Ian. The Doctor's not getting through to them. Well, let's try this. Here we go. This is when the pace quickens. 2 episodes down and we finally get introduced to the Animus, or at least the voice of it. The Animus, or the Dark Power, has enslaved the Zarbi to do its bidding. I really like it when the Menoptera are talking about the Animus thinking itself into existence within the planet and how it spreads its web across the world, and how it's from the darkness of space. It's something else again. Referred to in the larger canon as a great old one, its origin does kind of spill into the works of H.P. Lovecraft, but don't let that trouble you in this serial. It's 60s Doctor Who, that's all you need to know. It draws from the power of Vortis, stopping anything nice from growing and drawing these moons to the world. It's what sucked in and trapped the TARDIS in the first place, the thing that the Doctor was talking about at the very start of episode 1 when he was still dressed as a Roman. Its villainy is, well, understated. Maybe the fact that it's Lovecraftian is kind of cool after all. I redact my former statement. The interaction between Animus and Doctor throughout this adventure is great stuff, a real battle of wits. If you want some good examples of the first Doctor's wordsmithery across his timeline, then this little glass chamber scene is the place to go. The eventual reveal of the creature is pretty cool as well, but we'll get to that. The banished Menoptera race are planning to retake their homeworld with a big space fleet. You want to see the Menoptera at their mightiest? Then look at this one. He's taking off. He's flying. Look at that. Meanwhile, Ian, are you okay, mate? Oh, I see. Sorry. Ian and the Doctor have a plan. Well, the Doctor has a plan. Ian has a hard enough time just grasping the idea that the Zarbi are giant ants. Like, what else were they going to be? Yeah, that's it, mate. You enjoy yourself. The second half of this serial is all about the Crater of Needles, where the enslaved Menoptera have their wings ripped off and made to work. This journey into the heart of darkness is pretty compelling. Look at all the castrated Menoptera here being forced to work, and Barbara struggling under the atmospheric strain of this planet. And then these guys turn up. So take everything I just said and flush it down your nearest toilet the very instant you get to the Optera. They are singularly one of the worst creature designs, like literally ever. I love being kind to the old costumes in the old serials, but I just can't condone these guys. I really can't. You know, I could almost look the other way on the aesthetics if the actors didn't kangaroo hop about the place. It's like a CBeebies show 4 decades before CBeebies was invented. They do also force Ian to put his hands in this bowl of hot glue, which is actually pretty funny, and then he befriends a load of them. That kind of figures, to be honest. It's all dramatic in its own silly way. Loads of them die. At the same time, Barbara sparks a hyper-ultra-violent Menoptera revolution. Whoa. The Menoptera invasion fleet turn up to win back their homeworld, and it's a bleeding massacre. As epic battles go in 60s Doctor Who, this one is actually really flipping good, and yes, they do a decent job of hiding the strings where they fly. These battle scenes, yeah, they're cool. You also get some insight into Menoptera history and how prosperous it was until the cursed Animus came along. It spread its evil across the entire planet Vortis, and this new weapon, the Isotope, might be the only thing that can reverse the damage. The Doctor and Vicky go around in circles with their negotiations and trickery towards the Animus. It's hard to keep up with. At one point they enslave a Zarbi and Vicky starts calling it Zombo. Even after that, this happens to them. Just goes on and on. Long story short, everyone has their own route to the centre where they face the Mother Brain final boss Animus in the flesh, with plenty more bug versus bug horror in the process. And here it is, a good reveal. See, that's a final boss worthy of final bosses. Dated? Maybe. Impressive? Definitely. The Doctor and Vicky are out for the count straight off the bat, and its talk of going after Earth is pretty threatening. Cool voice, cool creature, the Animus is cool, the chimp approves. Anyway, it is nothing the Isotope can't fix. Everyone's friends again, and with the Animus gone, Vortis can prosper once more. Look at them all playing together like that, isn't it lovely? The Menoptera ask Ian if they'd ever come back to Vortis, and Ian says, I doubt it. So there you go, I guess that's it. Way to kill the fun, Ian. If you haven't seen The Web Planet, then you should. It's good. A wild classic in its own right. What other Doctor Who stuff would you like me to talk about? Sound off in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Have a good one.